Today is final exam day. I arrived at my examination room early. After a while, the examinees will fill up one after another. The preliminary order has also been issued. The invigilator enters the examination room. I sense a strange sensation. The invigilator looked wooden, mechanized. Without the slightest deviation, the exam papers were sorted out and distributed. It's like a controlled machine. After issuing the exam paper, the invigilator sat motionless on the podium, raised his head, a uniform left-right swing, exactly the same angle, and in his eyes is emitting flashing red light, and I was horrified. At the same time, the doors and windows of the classroom are automatically locked. A layer of white unidentified substance was attached to the window. We seemed to be completely cut off from the exam room. Don't look left and right. The consequences of disciplinary violations in the exam are at your own risk. The invigilator shouted in a sharp voice. Waited for a long time. The test paper finally reached me. I took one. Passed the rest to the back table. Pick up the test paper and look. Wait, it's not the title printed on the test paper. It's about 6 rules. I'm getting more and more confused. I had to start reading the rules. 1. The invigilator must not look up when patrolling, especially after you try it. Don't pay attention to anyone, including invigilators. 3. You may be involved in some. The game of lives. Must pass the game, for you can leave after the exam bell rings. Don't try to escape or even resist during this period. 5. Only when the invigilator has his back to you, before you can leave your seat. 6. Do not make the scream of the column. Higher decibels will only get you in trouble. The above final exam went well. After everyone has almost read the rules, the whole exam room fell into silence. So let's start with this. The one who broke the silence was a classmate who was about to collapse. He ran to the door like crazy and hammered the door desperately. But it's also futile. The invigilator's head quickly turned to the classmate until his head rolled straight off his neck. Then the body disappeared without a trace. There was only his head on the floor of the examination room. Due to the rules, everyone was terrified. But I can only take a breath, covering his mouth. Only a few classmates couldn't help screaming. Of course, they also paid the same price. The invigilator stood up. The moment I took my foot, I quickly lowered my head. Looks like he's coming to patrol. Is this your pen? A voice rang out above my head, made me break out in a cold sweat. I held back my fear and didn't look up. I ignored the invigilator with his footsteps gone, and I breathed a sigh of relief. It takes a long time. The students in the classroom also go less one by one. Only one thought on the ground remains. Terrifying investment. The moment the invigilator returns to the podium, the bell for the end of the exam rang. At the same time, the papers on all the examinees' desks turned into a dark red. It's still stained with sticky liquid. After a while, the doors and windows are unlocked. We can finally see what's out the window. The sun shines through the window. Implied victory in this game. The survivors in the classroom, looking up excitedly at the invigilator. Finally, until he turned his back on us. I stood up excitedly, just a few steps away from the door. Invigilator turned his head and stared at me with great speed. My scalp went numb. A few words appeared on the blackboard of the podium. 1 to 3 wooden man. Is this what the rules call a game? And while I was moving, the invigilator caught me. So the game failed.